Back with another Campfire Conversations with no fire because we have a wind at about 150 miles an hour. Okay, that's not true, but it's pretty windy.
Windy, dry.
But back at the acres east of Council Bluffs on Homestead Avenue. And this is Niki Ferguson, Manager of Entrepreneurial Development with Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation. I made a joke when we first met about how wide your business card must be.
Yeah, I was just going to commend you on your ability to say my title. It's a struggle, myself included, but most people are like, what is it? I'm like, you just pick something.
So your job is to help entrepreneurs get going.
Yes, as well
right?
as existing small businesses continue to be successful, growth, anything they would need as well. So
where does this all come from? Is it, because there has to be an entity behind it. Everything needs funding. So where does that all come from?
Well, officially, I work for Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, which is the economic development organization for all of Potawatomi County, the rural communities, Council Bluffs. And I started actually in a project manager role 8 years ago. I don't know. It's been a minute. And as I was learning, what that is, I should say the majority of Advance is funded through city and county funds, and we have some private investors as well that see the importance of economic development and what it does for a community and increasing the tax base and jobs and high quality jobs, I should say. So that's why we're supported. That said, as I was starting just kind of in again, more of a assistant watching, learning kind of role, there was already some discussion about we have so many organizations out here to help small businesses, free resources, the SBDCs, Nebraska Enterprise Funds, the list goes on and on. There's so many people out there, but there's kind of a disconnect from what was happening boots on the ground. The people I was talking to were, I was winging it, or I put it on a credit card, or if you're lucky enough, a rich granddad or someone, provided the backing. So there's a group that was meeting prior to me in this position from Iowa West Foundation, some banks, the CDFIs, Paula, discussing specifically the importance of entrepreneurship and supporting it and having a healthy entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that's kind of how it got started, and how do we fix this? And one of those fixes was needing a boots on the ground connector. And that I at one time had a small business myself, passionate about small business. I kind of just grabbed a hold of it and took some ownership of it, did some research, made some connections. And so I ended up getting my roles shifted and moved into the mouthful that is the Manager of Entrepreneurial Development in 2019, with the sole purpose of building an ecosystem, bringing folks together, making sure that people have a connection to get the resources, whether it's funding, real estate, mentorship, networking, whatever it is, trying to be that person to make those connections.
A lot of this is going to be me pretending I don't know what it is, because I've worked with you so closely over the last several years, but you have to have seen a lot of entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs come through. How often does it happen that somebody comes to you with an idea and it doesn't make it as far as actually turning into a business?
I will say a lot of the times the people, when they come to me, when they get to me, they have already done a lot of their due diligence. They've done the market research, they've done the surveys, they've done some things to realize that this is a viable business idea. Sometimes it's not, and sometimes what it starts out as and where it ends up are two completely different things, because as you know, you have to be willing to pivot and make adjustments.
Yeah, I am probably a poster child for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I mean, something I think all entrepreneurs share, regardless of industry, from artists to tech startups, you have to have guts. That's the biggest thing. All the things that go into it, support, resources, mentors, all the things, very important. But the thing that holds most people back is that fear, because as you know, it is scary. And especially as you're building, when you get to that point of, oh my gosh, this is no longer a side hustle. Do I quit my day job? It's a scary thing. Entrepreneurship is a very scary thing. And I think a lot of the times the ones that maybe hold back or put it on the back burner or say, I'm gonna wait a couple of years, or it is that fear. But we all have lives and maybe families and mortgages, it is a scary thing. So yeah, I think if you have the guts, it's amazing what people accomplish. I mean, you just know the person that's going to follow through a lot of times.
As we're recording this, the latest episode that I published was with Dan Olson from Sack of Lions, and we talked about some of this very same thing with entrepreneurs in this particular area of the world. And there's a lot of people with guts
Yep.
around here that, and the point that he was making was, what's the worst that can happen? So you failed? Well, you tried.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And I know some people that went into business, gave it their best shot, and it didn't make it, but okay.
Right.
You know, and that's
one
all
of
right
our,
too.
You know, we have Kitchen Council under, you know, our organizational umbrella as well, which is the incubator for food startups, helping food startups start up. But also kind of part of that is also learning, you know, sometimes failing fast is just as great as growing, you know, fast. And they're able to get in there and give it a try, and at least if it's not going to work, they know that before they've invested in a building, you know, all the kitchen equipment, all that. So it's, and then a lot of times they come back around with a new iteration and something else because they're just wired that way.
You've been doing this for a while, but I'm still surprised at how many people don't know you're out there. And there's a lot of different resources to be able to help entrepreneurs in this area. I have a feeling it's probably that way in a lot of areas
Yep.
Of the country, that people just aren't aware that they can have that kind of help.
Right.
And for some people, there's a certain stubbornness. Well, I want to do this on my own. I don't want the help.
Yep.
You know, I'm thinking about the time that I met Carrie McDonald. And she talked about that, and she has a tremendously successful
Yes. Yes.
workout business and physical training and that kind of thing. And when she came in on the old podcast that we used to do, and she said, "No, I didn't want to take any help." But then she realized, wait a minute, that's not what you're doing.
Right.
You know, you're not just saying, okay, here's a handout. It's, we're going to help you. We're
Right.
going to point you in the right direction. And taking advantage of the resources that are available is good business.
Yep. And that's what they're there for. I mean, the state of Iowa has some things in place for, you know, small business, more business resources, et cetera. They're not, it's not a handout. It's not because you need help. It's there because they see the value in what you're doing and the value that you will bring to our economy of the state. So yeah, kind of changing that mentality is important, and no one can do it alone. Honestly, I mean, even if you are a one-man show or one-woman show, having a team around you, whether that's a staff or a co-founder or whatever, is important. And sometimes that's just your network and the people that are coming to the same events as you, that have been there before you, that have learned from, you know, you can learn from their mistakes. But having, you know, like the folks at the SBDC help you through, because none of us are born knowing how to do financial projections. So ask for help instead of, you don't have the time. You're usually working and also trying to build a business and do life. You don't have time to necessarily find all that information and learn to be an expert in something when there's experts out there that are willing to help you. I mean, take advantage. It's there for a reason.
You mentioned at the beginning that being a project manager in the beginning of this thing, you kind of have that role again a little bit with something that is you're working to bring to the area.
Yes.
With a coworker space.
Yes, that has been my baby since I got in this role. I could not believe, and co-working spaces, their success is not based on, it's a very loud bird.
Oh yeah, we have squirrels, ducks, chickens, whatever the heck. I think that's a squirrel, isn't it?
I don't know, it's very loud, but I love it.
Yeah, that's what happens out here.
I love it, sorry.
No, you're fine, the cows will
I'm
start
not
making
literal
some noise pretty
squirrel,
soon.
you know,
Yeah.
that was me right there in real life. Anyway, yes, could not believe that in a community of our size that there isn't a traditional co-working space, meaning not just shared office space, like that is definitely a need and something we have a little bit of, could probably use more, but a collaboration space where you're able to, you may not have your team or you may be running a business out of your home, but it's isolating, you know, kind of being by yourself. So being able to have
that's the way it is for me right now. It's very isolating.
Yes, but having a space where you have colleagues, so to speak, you have other people around that you can bounce ideas off of or just be energized by, because being in a room with the same like-minded people that are also building a business is energizing. It gives you kind of the motivation on those tough days to move forward, and it also solves our problem of affordable office space or having an address that isn't maybe your home to bring some validity to what you're doing from people on the outside, that are going to give you a goog, so to speak. And it also gives us the opportunity to have events, regular events, bringing everybody together, focused on different things that small businesses need and want, from happy hours and morning coffees to education around marketing, around coding, you name it. So it's been, again, a lot of years coming, a lot of research, a lot of visiting other places from rural to huge cities, to figure out what's going to work. And we were finally able to start moving that vision forward. Last year, we submitted for a community grant through Google that they have in their communities where they have a presence, and we're denied. They're $50,000 grants, and we were like, well, it was just to do some more research and due diligence and start some planning, identifying some space. And then we received a follow-up email saying, you were denied, however, it's just too big. We think this is too big for this particular grant. We want to give you $250,000, and we're going to announce it at our upcoming
What was it
event.
like opening up that letter?
Actually, Paula, our CEO,
Right.
opened that email and called me, but I can assure you, I wasn't sure if it was that call that you're like, is this good or bad? Am I getting fired?
Right.
And it's just like, are you sitting down?
Right.
Scenario, and I thought, oh gosh. So I about fell off my chair. It went from working and clawing our way forward and making little wins to, wow, this just got real, and this just got real really quickly, and we're going public. They're going to announce this. It was huge. It catapulted all the things to start moving forward. It's been a process. I mean, from designing a build out to fundraising, because we're a nonprofit at the end of the day. So this will be run as a nonprofit, more community model. So we are there. We're in the final stages of the plan of what it's going to look like. I've held carpet samples now, so
Okay.
it's big time now. We're about halfway through our fund development. If that's going to be the biggest piece. Once we get to our magic number, we will start build out. The build out process itself is not really in depth. We have the private offices. Otherwise, it's a lot of open space, and so we're still shooting for yet this year being able to. We'll have our end date and when we're starting build out and big announcements and big things. But the space is going to be incredible. It's going to be a game changer for the community, the small business community, the founders, everyone from artists to food tech. We want to have an opportunity for everyone in that space, a space where everyone can use. If you're a small business, if you want to be an entrepreneur someday, but you're just not quite there, but you want to be around people like yourself, people that are doing this is going to be a place for you. So super excited.
You mentioned about different events. I mean, I'm envisioning, because there's a sport where it's going to be at is there's a really nice common area.
You can tell where it's at.
Near the Mid-America Center.
Yes, right in between Full-Fledged and
Right.
Big Cousin there.
So
in the spine.
having that space, are you talking about like makers events or things that, so like artists or different people that have some type of maybe small production they're doing that they're selling, that type of thing where people can come out and support local?
Yes, from like the lunch and learns that say Tandem Works, things like that, they can host it. Just a brief overview, it's a big space. In that space, there will be private offices, small offices for 1 to 2 person teams to utilize if they need maybe client meetings or you can't be out in the open necessarily. Maybe you're a little more established, so those will be available. We have dedicated desk spaces where someone can have their the high-low desks and locking file cabinet where that's your spot, your stapler, if you will. That's your spot. And also just floating desk space. You can grab a couch, you can sit at, in a booth. There's little Zoom rooms, Zoom booths to use as well. So trying to have a space that teams can use, that we have a big, huddle table in the middle. There'll be, kind of a break room type kitchen for members to utilize, and also for our events, to we need to have cocktail, or excuse me, we need to have drinks of some kind. So using that space. But we also try to, again, make it bigger. We want this to mirror what our community is, what our entrepreneurs look like. And so all of the artwork in the space, all of the wall space is going to be designated for local artists, sculptors, whatever, as gallery space with their available artwork. They can rotate it, I'm sure, but their available artwork, it will be displayed. That will be the color, so to speak, in the space. We also have a little kitchen space that, the members at Kitchen Council or other small businesses, small caterers, etc., can sign up for a day. They're going to be our food provider for that day for not only the members, but the other offices and businesses that are in that area, and even on the weekends when there's huge events and things happening there. So they can utilize that space. And then we also have a little market for product testing. Retailers, they can sell their product in that little market space, designated area. There's a huge classroom space that can also be used for events and things of that. We try to just make sure there's space for everything. Everyone
Maybe
feels
if you
welcome.
can convince some small business owner to put a recording studio in there.
That would be. I think that would be something that would be great next door. I've thought about I mean, obviously money's a huge issue, and if I had all the money in the world, we would definitely have that. Some kind of recording space, space for photographers. But I got to sit where I'm at right now. But
yeah,
it's going to be a great space, and I mean, just cool. But yeah, we've done pop-up markets previously for makers to sell their products, so I anticipate that will be something that happens continually. We have a partnership with New Boco out of Cedar Rapids, and they have a number of curriculum-based programming that they're going to be bringing over to our coast of the state. So that'll be housed out of there. Our meetups you come to quite frequently.
Right.
Things like that will be able to finally happen on a regular cadence, where it's the second Tuesday of every month we have this, and there's this there's going to be things happening all the time.
Well, that'll make things a lot easier for you too when planning those meetups, that you no longer have to find a place to do it. You don't have to make sure that the schedule works with that facility and everything else. You can plan ahead.
Yep.
And be able to do all of these
And
things.
the members will be able to host their own events. I mean, we have conference room, the classroom space. If you're a member there, you can also utilize that space as a member and put your name in the system and utilize that. So trying to make sure everyone has all the amenities they would need if they had a large office space or a brick and mortar location right there at an affordable cost. So
still fundraising for the facility?
Still fundraising. So if you're someone that wants to drop $1 million, I mean, let me know. That said, we're also looking at options for some of the smaller businesses that have maybe had some success and want their name permanently on a little, whatever it may be. Our friend, oh my gosh, help me out. You know me with names, with the metal.
Oh, Rick. Yeah, with Foxco Fabrication. Big supporter of what it is that we do here.
Yes.
And he was actually the very first guest when we ever did one of these Campfire Conversations.
That's the first one I saw.
Tried to do it on Facebook Live, and it worked.
I watched it. It was great.
The audio wasn't the greatest, but yeah, we did it just live on Facebook, and he came out, and it was tons of fun. And Rick's talented.
Yes. I talked to him and I said, I've got this idea for, kind of a grassroots level of sponsorships, because again, that's my people, And I said, I want to do something. I don't know what it is yet, but maybe shape something with their company or their name forever on our donor wall, so to speak. And he was game, and he's like, yeah, I'd be happy to cook something up, do that with me. So
just to sing some praises to Rick Graybill from Foxco Fabrication. I know he had a booth up at the Crescent Farmers Market. They did that once a month up there, and folks would come over and see some of the things that he'd made. And his setup, he was a little nervous about it because he went out and he's got a really nice tent, and they were wondering where he was from. And then when they found out he was from Council Bluffs, their eyes just light up.
Yep.
And wait a minute, we've got somebody like this right here. Can you do this? Can you do this? Yeah, I can do that. So, foxcofabrication.com is the website. Take a look. He's just now getting into flatbed trailers, so he's doing custom flatbeds
Anything with metal
trucks.
is what he told me.
Yeah, he used a different word, but and it's he's a phenomenal welder. That's the base of his business, and then there's a lot of metal fabrication and different things. I've got some stuff in my place that's sitting up on the mantle that he gave me, so it's pretty cool. But getting back to the fundraising portion of it, it is still a need, and the idea is for this really to be a community-based project. And you know, Google, while you got a big chunk of change from Google, they are here.
Yeah.
You know, they have a facility here.
They do, and a couple of them actually. Yeah, we are really lucky with our location on the globe, so to speak. We're a great area when it comes to those data centers, and we are very lucky to have Google in our backyard for sure, and they do great things for our community, and it was huge. And they continue to support even Rev. You know, they're a big supporter of that as well. Like I can't thank them enough for starting that fundraising process for us, and you know, putting our feet to the fire, so to speak,
or lack
to
of
get
fire.
going.
But you are now going to be reclassified as transition queen for how well you just transitioned from one thing into another, meaning Rev.
Lack of attention?
Yeah, Rev as in the Rev pitch competition,
Yes.
which is coming up, sponsored by TS Bank. But the time to apply for the grant is over, but
Yes, for this year.
for this year, but it's still, I mean, this is an event, and it just keeps getting bigger and
so
bigger.
fun.
And now folks can come and watch the finalist pitch for, where was it at now? 17?
As of this morning, it's at $19,000.
$19,000. It could all go to one. It could be split up. It just depends on what the judges
There was
decide.
some years, one year we had 4 of the 5,
Right.
because they were able to really move the needle, splitting it up that way for those businesses and make a huge impact. I may know the decision where the committee landed this year, but I'm not at liberty to share yet. But I mean, even if you applied, we get a ton of applications every year,
Right.
and it's such a hard decision, which is why we don't touch it and give it to you know, an independent committee unrelated to our area to make those decisions, because it's so hard to do. But there are people that have not won, or won the, you know, the crowd favorite award or things like that, that have really will sing the praises of the impact that being there, or being, you know, in the showcase, or, you know, just being around, making connections is sometimes bigger than the cash itself, you know, some of the other things that come out of it. And again, the event itself, there's a free drink ticket and snacks involved, you know, so, and then the pitches are just really fun to watch. And I mean, I commend anybody that's able to get up on that stage and, you know, pitch their business, because it's tough, but the event is a lot of fun. And I mean, tickets are dirt cheap, if I'm allowed to say that. You know, $15, it's a great event. Plan, mark it on your calendar, November 7th, down at Pace, so.
Yeah, I was, somebody was asking me if I was going to apply, and I said, look, I emceed that thing last year. It would look kind of weird.
It might be suspect.
Yeah, maybe I need a year separated from it, but hopefully by that point it won't be a need for it. See, there's more squirrels.
I love it. I feel like I
there's,
should work outside all the time.
Yeah, it's there's plenty of wildlife roaming around out here, and actually the one that I did with Dan Olson, as I went back, I didn't know it was happening at the time. There was bugs crawling across the lens.
That's awesome. I love it.
So it happened a couple of times.
Well, hopefully once the space is getting ready to open, we can do another one with a fire and like maybe parkas, but it'd be hilarious.
That
It'd
would be
awesome.
great. It would also, we should just, you know, get maybe a painting of a fire, or maybe that video, you know, you can put on screen. So once you're open, we can actually go there and just put that on the screen behind us.
Part of my plan when I gave it to the designers, how many events there's fireside chats. I'm like, I want an actual fire element somewhere in this space. I may or may not have gotten my way on that, but I will figure it out. If I have to have a little tabletop solo stove, or again, put it on the monitor behind me, I will do it, because it's ironic and it's funny, and I like a fireplace. So,
That's,
but it's a little warm today and a little windy, and I don't want to cause a fire.
There's some times that I'm sitting out here and it's hot and the fire gets too close and about catches my pants on fire. But it was the wind today, and sometimes, like right at this very moment, it would have been fine. But other times the wind starts to gust and catch my camera on fire. More times than not, I go home and the camera smells like a campfire.
Yeah, I bet. But yeah, and I don't want to start a wildfire. That would not be good for either one of us, I feel like.
And the poor Schneckloth family, after being so gracious to let me come out here and video and stuff like this. But,
better safe than sorry.
Definitely. So anybody who would like to learn more about the coworker space, whether it be, that sounds like something I could use, or something that they just want more information on, is there a website they can go to?
You can go to Advance's website, which is advancesouthwestiowa.com. I was like, is there a corp in there? But no, advancesouthwestiowa.com. And if you go to the startup tab, there's links on there. You can click a Google Doc to be, if you have any interest in being a member of any level or just getting more information, you can fill out that form. Also, and that'll kind of get you on a priority wait list when we get to that point. Those people are going to first right of refusal for the dedicated desks and the dedicated office space, but also keeps you in the know with announcements and things like that and progress. And you can reach out to me at any point. It's nferguson@selectgreateromaha.com. Also long like my title. If you have questions, but again, from the website, you can connect with me as well. So happy to answer any questions.
Well, that's for the coworker space, but let's say that, again, same location. If somebody has thoughts of breaking into the entrepreneurial world, getting something going, and you help them even with market research at times. Could you help me with that?
Absolutely.
Shoot off some emails and see if we can't get some feedback on what may or may not be needed, or if anything along with that. It's such a wonderful resource that Advanced Southwest Iowa provides. And anytime that I sing you praises, you get embarrassed. And you say, no, it's not me. No, that's not true, because it just came across over the past 30 minutes. You have a real passion for what it is that you do, and you have a passion for the people that you're helping.
Absolutely.
And that is what all of us that have received help and benefits from Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, it's invaluable. And I am eternally grateful for all of that stuff. And it's typically I deal with you. I haven't really talked to Paula very much.
She's doing the big stuff. She's doing the Googles of the world.
And I haven't talked to her a whole lot, but still, anytime that I do, she's always been incredibly supportive.
Yes.
And so you can tell it comes from the top and it just comes on down. And that's to have these types of resources in the community is it helps a lot with growth. And my feeling is that it also will help if somebody's looking for a new place. Hey, where can I go and start up a new business? And if they start to learn about the resources that are here, it's going to make them want to come here. Because I'm a big believer. If you're not growing, nobody's staying stagnant.
Right.
There's too many small towns around the state of Iowa that have just dried up into nothing because they thought that they could just keep the status quo.
And we have Shalimar on our team as well for that purpose. She's in all of the rural communities, the 12 plus. If I left somebody out, I'm sorry. And that is her job, economic development, strictly in the small towns, because we have a lot. I mean, Potawatomi County is a big county, and making sure that they have healthy communities as well. And there's different resources out there. So she and I take team a lot when it comes to the rural small businesses.
Well, and there are small businesses going up. I hear all the time about a new business in Neola, a new business in Underwood, a new business in Oakland, Trainer, all these different places that there's businesses going in.
A lot happening.
And they're actually pretty cool places.
Yep. Yeah. The majority of my landed projects, we'll say, this year there's been a lot of rural, when it comes to, retail and things like that. And they're booming. It's because people are proud, they love their home, and if they can stay and keep their money in their hometown, they're going to support. So it's it's great to see the revitalization of small towns that were kind of dying at one time. So.
Well, always great to see you, and
Great
thank
to
you
be
so
here.
much
Thanks for having me.
coming out and doing this. And I'm looking forward to the next meetup.
Yes.
And because you know how I am, I just I'm really shy and I don't like to talk in front of people.
I
so.
know. And luckily for this guy, who when it gets to our round table,
Right.
Who's who and what are you celebrating? What do you need help with? Portion of the meetings. This may or may not be my guy who gets everyone's attention for me. So thank you for that.
I can raise the volume if I need to.
I appreciate it.
Niki Ferguson, Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, thanks again.
Todd, thank you.
And looking forward to continuing to work with you as the months and years go by.
Before I go, thank you for this, what you do for the entrepreneurs and small businesses and giving them the exposure. These conversations, that is also invaluable. And again, other entrepreneurs, people aren't your competitors 99% of the time. They're going to be your biggest champions, and be involved in the community, in the other small businesses and things that are happening. Come to the meetups. You're welcome, no matter if you think, maybe don't belong, you do. And it's people like you, Todd, that are, emulating that every day and being a support for, being part of their business family. Support system.
Very grateful for that, and for everything, and for the private jet flying over, and for
That's my ride.
That's my ride.
a lot of money in nonprofit work.
We'll be back very soon with another episode of Campfire Conversations. Until then, take care.